Hi guys, welcome to another video. Welcome guys. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for joining in. My name is Golden. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back to the channel, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming back, guys. So today's video is basically going to be about planning a wedding in Lagos. Why I did not say planning a wedding in Nigeria is because I think planning a wedding in Lagos is way different from any other place in Nigeria. I'm not going to lie. So I know that when I was in the process of planning my wedding, I went through YouTube to get a lot of tips and tricks, and quite frankly there wasn't so much I could see. So I'm basically doing this for any other intending bride who is asking questions about planning a wedding. You know, the budget, what you should have, how much you should save up for, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think this video is for you, and I'm sure it's going to help somebody. Even if it's just one person, it's going to definitely help someone, because I went through it. I mean, the first thing I would say about planning a wedding in Nigeria, put earpiece in your ear, get a wedding planner. That's the only way you can be rest assured that you will sleep well at night. And it's not just getting a wedding planner, it's getting a good wedding planner. Because guys, I don't know how because at the beginning I literally thought I could plan my wedding myself, and I don't even know what I was thinking, because me, I can't. You know, there's so much that goes into wedding planning that people don't know. And obviously I was very oblivious of that fact, because obviously the only thing I do when it comes to weddings is to attend weddings. I don't know everything that makes up the, you know, I don't know what brought everything together. I just knew that, well, whenever I went to this wedding I had a good time, whenever I went to that wedding I had a good time, you know. I didn't know any other thing was not my business. But obviously this time around I was on the other side of the line, and it was my wedding. So I'm basically going to be giving you guys tips and tricks, you know, on how to budget for weddings, planning your wedding, ensuring that you have a very, very good wedding. Because my wedding was perfect. It was perfect. And people who came to the wedding, you know, even give their reviews. I mean, it wasn't like we even needed anyone to give reviews or anything, or we did it because we wanted people to give reviews. That was not the reason. Myself and my partner just knew that we wanted a very good wedding celebration, and we gave ourselves just that, you know. But yeah, let's get right into it. Like I said, the first thing you have to do is to get a good event planner. For my wedding I used Events by Omusi. She's on Instagram. I'll put her name on the screen, Events by Omusi. And I would say that if you don't get an event planner that knows her onions, you're just going to run into a lot of trouble. I'm telling you, you'll be wondering why everything is going wrong, but you will not know that you're the one that caused it. But yes, get a good wedding planner, a wedding planner that has connections with people, that has relationships, a wedding planner that can, you know, fix things in, you know, in a bit. Apparently there were some things that actually went wrong at my wedding that she shielded me from, because she didn't want me to be exposed to those things, you know. So but at the end of the day, in my head I didn't even know these things were happening during the wedding because of the way she handled it, you know. So that is the kind of person you want to get for your wedding. I highly 100% recommend Events by Omusi if you're ever trying to get married in Lagos. I don't know if she does outside of Lagos weddings, but I'm definitely about Lagos weddings. So if you're ever looking for an event planner in Lagos, reach out to Events by Omusi. The first thing you want to think about when planning a wedding, I think this is the first thing, not even the budget. First of all, the budget is coming after, but this is the first thing. The first thing is, what kind of wedding do I want to have? what kind of wedding do I want to have? That's a very important question you need to ask yourself. Do I want to have like a bougie wedding? Do I want to have a normal wedding? Do I want to have a wedding in the mix, like bougie and normal? When I say bougie and normal, I mean some things will be very, should I use the word luxurious, while other things would just be you know, just blah. Do you get me? So that's the first question you want to ask yourself. What kind of wedding do I want to have? When you're able to answer that question, it can then lead you to what is a very realistic budget for this wedding. So you need to ask yourself the what kind of wedding do I want to have first. Do I want to have a bougie wedding? Are there some things that I really want at my wedding? Like for me, you know, when people always say that they had like fantasies in their head about their wedding day, I never really had any of those things. That's a separate video altogether. I never really had any of those things, so I didn't really have anything that I was particular about. The only thing for me for my wedding, and if my event planner was here, she would say the same thing, is I said everyone must have food to eat. Because I had been to numerous weddings where you're coming to celebrate with people, because people come from far and wide to actually celebrate with you, and they come and they don't have food to eat. Like, you know, it's crazy. And for me, I didn't want that. So that was my non-negotiable. I wanted food to be in surplus, and it was actually in surplus, guys. Like, people were eating 2 times and even more. Do you get me? So there's some non-negotiables when it comes to weddings. So the first question you're asking yourself is, what are the things I really want at my wedding? Then it then you know filters into your budget. Now obviously the next thing is, what is my wedding budget? Now that you've realized what you actually want for your wedding, the most realistic, so the next question you have to ask yourself is, what is the most realistic budget for this kind of wedding that I want to have? Because it's not you can't say that you want a bougie wedding and you're bringing a budget of 3 million naira or 5 million. See, this one is not even a don't gatekeep. I will tell you, 5 million naira in Lagos cannot plan you a fantastic wedding. I'm not even capping. It's not going to do, because from the decorations alone, do you know how much people are calling for decorations, guys? Like, when you see decorations at weddings and you look at this decor, you'll be like, wow. Just know that those couple paid should I use the word, a fantastic amount of money for that decor. So it's not, you have to find a realistic budget, and that's why having a good wedding planner comes into place, because they know the prices of this stuff. Like, they know the prices of this stuff. They can tell you, oh, see, you had this budget, this is what is going to be able to fit this kind of wedding you have. And then if you feel like, oh, you cannot make a compromise in terms of the spending, in terms of your budget, then you now have to alter the kind of wedding you want to have, and remove some things, or make some things cheaper and that kind of thing. So you need to be very realistic with your budget on how much you want to spend, and having a good planner will help you set the tone for that. Tell the person, oh, this is how much I'm willing to spend. And this is just a quick advice. I do not even advise, this is me, me and my partner, we do not even advise anyone spending their entire savings on weddings. Don't do it, guys. Like, don't even do it, because as much as you want to give your guests a time of their lives and you want everyone to have a good time, you are the one who will be left with your partner to go back home and soak gari, like it's Eba, or but it's even a rich man food these days, soak gari. So you have to be very realistic. When we spend XYZ amount of money on this wedding, do we have XYZ amount of money that can that we can sustain? And one thing I also realize in planning weddings these days, a lot of people anticipate people spraying them a lot of money. Sis, have you seen the economy? So I mean, that also happens these days. People even throw like parties so that they can get money in terms of like the whole spraying and everything. But I don't really advise that. I would advise that you don't create debts just because you want to plan a good wedding. Don't do it. If there's, from my, and this is me, everything I say is me from my perspective. If you don't have the money to pay right now, right, to pay this vendor right now, don't do it. Like, there's no point. Like, there's no point in doing it, because what if people don't give you money? What if people don't give you gifts? Do you get me? Like, don't even do it. don't do it. You know, myself, and one thing myself and my husband said was, we're not even going to depend on any gifts per se. First of all, on our invitation cards, we told people to monetize all gifts, because obviously we don't live in Nigeria, and there was no point people bringing microwave and pots and all of those things, because we're never going to use them. Who's going to carry them all the way? So we literally put it on the invitation for people to monetize gifts, and I'm very thankful for our guests, because they actually did just that. Although there was one woman who came with a basin or like a bath. What was that? I'm grateful for that though. I think my mom took it, but every other person monetized the gift. You get, like, they brought it in cash, and I'm very happy about that. People transferred the money. You know, I wouldn't lie, we got a lot of cash gifts for our wedding, but what I'm trying to say in essence is, we didn't plan because, how do I put it? We didn't plan in anticipation of those monies we're going to get. That's not what we did. We planned based on, we looked at both our savings. We're like, how much can we comfortably, when I say comfortably, that after the wedding you're not what's the word, you're not broke. Yeah. So how we looked at both our savings, and it was actually a joint effort. I mean, I think people always say some things like, oh, family pays for wedding. In my case, it was very different. It was myself and my partner. I mean, that's not to say that we didn't have, you know, help and, you know, contribution from family. We definitely did, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, we had people, you know, if you watched my wedding video, you would see that Okon Lagos was our MC. We didn't pay for that. Our family paid for that. We had like souvenirs, gifts, and all those things for people. People paid for that. So even some of the food, because we made arrangements with our own vendor, but my mom had like her own vendors as well, you know, bringing food and all of that. So definitely family definitely contributes, but the most important thing is at the beginning, because definitely your family will come through for you, right? But at the beginning, you should be able to, you and your partner should be able to say, what if people cannot come through? Can we do this ourselves? And if the answer is yes, now the next question is, how much can we bring out to get that will not leave us broke? So that's also a very important thing. Another thing you should consider is, when do you want to get married? There are some seasons in Nigeria, I think, when they're like for example, Christmas, Easter, those times are very expensive to get married, because those times there are other celebrations, and you know, when there's excess demand for something, there, like, the price will go higher. So you want to consider those factors as well. Is this a season where there is a celebration? Because things are definitely going to be costly, yeah, basically you need to consider that. And the thing with Nigeria's economy, I mean, if you're not in tune with, is that one little thing affects the other part. When your FX is going higher, you know that it's affecting every other part. So even the rice you're going to buy in the market, or the meat you're going to buy in the market, they will, you know, it will now be adjusted for inflation. So you need to consider when you're getting married. I would say to choose dates that are not really peak periods. Yeah, you can also research that, because they're like peak periods for weddings in Nigeria. You might want to choose those times that are not peak periods, so that things are not going to be very expensive. Another thing you want to consider is, how many guests can we take care of comfortably? When we were planning our wedding, we initially started with just 100 people, because I wanted a small wedding. Just like I said at the beginning of this video, I never really fantasized about having a wedding, so it wasn't really a big deal for me. Left to me, I could actually go and do a cut wedding and move on with my life. But my partner didn't want that, so obviously there had to be a compromise. So we wanted to have a small wedding and, you know, celebrate with our loved ones. But how realistic was that though? I would say it wasn't exactly realistic, because, you know, in the African culture, it takes like a village to raise somebody. So you'll be looking at the 100 guest list, he'd be like, oh, I haven't put this auntie, but she took care of me when I was young, how will I not invite her to my wedding? I haven't put this my father's friend, this is my father's friend, when he used to come, he used to give me money. You know, those kind of things you might want to consider. Oh, who are you okay inviting? And I would also say that don't just invite people for the sake of inviting people and all of that. Left to me, if you haven't spoken to me in a year or two, I don't think I have any business inviting you to my wedding. And it's not even a case of, oh, I'm fighting with you. It's not that. I just wanted to invite people that I knew that I talked to, because obviously there was a limit. I didn't want a big wedding. I hate when you have to look into a crowd and you don't know half the people there. I do not like it. I don't like it at all. So I wanted a very small wedding, but 100 people wasn't exactly realistic, because that would have been 50 from my side, 50 from my husband's side. Wasn't realistic. Then we moved to 150, then we moved to 250, then we moved to 350. I think we landed somewhere around 400. Yeah, I think we landed somewhere around 400. And even that 400, the people that I saw there were definitely more than 500. Definitely, because my side of the, because obviously with the decoration and everything, there's like an arrangement for sitting, because of the fact that I was very much in tune with the wedding preparations. I knew where everyone was supposed to be seated. Yeah, I pay attention to a lot of things. I knew where everyone was meant to be seated, and then I saw a couple of my mother's guests sitting in a place where my friends were supposed to sit. So I already knew that, and her side was full, so I already knew that way more people were invited. So I would say that if for the whole guest list number and everything, you might want to be very firm with your family, especially if you're the one paying for your wedding. You might want to be very firm with your family. This is how much I can afford. If you bring any more people, they're not going to have seats, they're not going to have food to eat, and you don't want that kind of embarrassment for your guests. So I think it's a conversation you have to have early enough. I think that was one that thing I didn't really start doing early enough. Have those conversations with your parents. Tell them that you don't want to have so many guests at your wedding. Although my parents tried to comply, if I'm being honest, but I think some things were just beyond them. Yeah, so I think some things were just beyond them, if I'm being honest. So a lot more people came. Also, you have to think about the wedding venue. The major things that take up money in weddings are your venue, your food, your decor, venue, food and drinks, decor, what else? Yeah, I think those are the main things. So these are the 4 things that actually take up your money: venue, food, drinks, decor. So you might want to save on some parts of, you know, the expenses. So if you're okay with doing a mainland wedding, definitely go for it. If you have money to do an island wedding, that's okay, right? But I'm assuming that most people want to save up on a little bit of money, because weddings are getting so expensive. Like, it's ridiculous how expensive they are, right? So for instance, I did my wedding on the mainland and I didn't pay, I think for my wedding venue we didn't pay more than ₦1 million for it. But the other wedding venues that we were looking at on the island, they were 2.5, 3.5 million, as high as 4.5 to 6 million. They were that high. But then we last minute we changed, not last minute because that obviously has to be your first thing to book, not last minute, but what I mean is that after like looking at those venues, we then decided to go with the one on the mainland, because first of all, it was very close to the church and the hotel we're going to be staying in, and we then realized that most people are actually going to be coming from the mainland, so it just made sense to do it on the mainland. So yeah, definitely look at venue options, have different alternatives, and try to book on time, because these venues, they get filled up easily. One of our friends had her wedding somewhere in Ikeja, and we wanted to use that same hall, and by the time we were dilly-dallying and, you know, going up and down, it was already taken. So you may want to book some of those things on time. And yeah, I think I've mentioned the decor. Yeah, typically the wedding planner does all those sourcing for vendors for you based on your budget. That's why it's always very good to work hand in hand with your event planner, because when they come with a budget of 1 million, tell them, oh, this is what I have to spend on this particular thing, because the figure actually adds up. Like, the figure adds up a lot. And if you're the kind of person who wants to plan your wedding yourself, I think I still have my templates from my wedding planning. I'm very open to sharing that. I don't have a problem sharing those things. I would share it. So, but if you're working hand in hand with your event planner, when you bring, oh, this is how much you will pay for this thing, tell them this is my budget for this thing. Pinpoint things rather, because the figure actually adds up, especially if you're on a tight budget. The figure actually adds up. I wouldn't say my partner and I were on a very tight budget, because there were some things that we wanted and we knew that they were going to be expensive. So what we then did was we then compromised on other things that we didn't really care so much for, right? For instance, Insa's non-negotiable is he wanted the decor to be beautiful, and that was very beautiful but very costly at the same time, right? I wanted everyone to have food, which was also costly because I had to make provision for excess amount of plates over the number of people that we were trying to invite. So but in terms of what would I say we compromised on? Can't think of anything. Okay, things like all those party props, all those things, we didn't even do them because it was just money to us it was just a waste, because like I didn't need that. And I also think I weren't big up on who was going to be the DJ. We just went with whoever our wedding planner recommended. And even different things, there were some things we just left to them, honestly. If the people who handled the drinks, like the cocktails, the mocktails, we didn't put so much effort into those things. But like the food, we're very particular about the food, who is the decorator rather. We even had like a PDF of like decor ideas. That's how much we paid attention to those ones, because we knew that the pictures were going to last us for a very long time, and we just wanted to look back and be like, oh, these are very beautiful pictures. And obviously that the decor enhances that. I don't think we were also then we used like a photographer recommended by our friend. I know that some people want to use like very expensive photographers, but someone who knows how to do their job knows how to do their job. Our wedding photographer was fantastic. Like he was so fantastic. I think I'll leave up some pictures so you guys can see. He was literally so fantastic. So, and we didn't have to pay like a head and an arm for it. Do you get me? So those things, you might want to compromise on some certain things, like venue, where you want to do your wedding, all of those kind of things, right? Do you want to have an outdoor wedding? I'm saying what aspect of your day is most important to you, so you can focus on those things, because a lot of things will actually go wrong, guys. A lot of things will go wrong, but you might want to focus on the things that you can control. Also, in terms of like your personal effects, like your clothes and everything, I would say don't compromise on those ones, because I did that and it was it was not a funny experience for me, guys. 1 week to my wedding, I was looking for a dress. Do you get? So there are just some things you should be very particular about, like the person who is making your clothes, those kind of things. You should be very particular about those things, because I didn't pay attention to, I mean, not like I didn't pay attention, but like I didn't push so much to be involved in that. And at the end of the day, I got messed up, and I was looking for a dress in less than a week to my wedding. So you might want to consider being involved in those kind of things. And always speak to like your event planner if you have any issues. Sometimes they have quick fixes to a lot of things, right? My second dress it's so funny actually thinking about it. My second dress, the person who made my dress forgot to put the corset rope. I had to utilize what's it called, shoelaces to actually tie my corset. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So you might want to consider those things. And I think one tip I'll give to brides, especially the ones who are out of the country, if you're getting married in Nigeria and then you're out of the country, you're probably like in the UK or the US or wherever, have a family member or a friend who can follow up on things for you or on your behalf. It will really help you a lot. I think that was one mistake I made. I just felt like, oh, because I was talking to these people, I didn't really need to put so much effort into seeing what they were doing, or especially my clothes and everything. You might want to have someone that you trust, like your friend, your family, puts checking on some things for you so that you're sure that everything is going fine. I'll also talk about bridal parties. I see things are too expensive these days for you to be stressing your bridesmaids, right? So I would say that you should find any way possible for your bridesmaids not to overspend. When it comes to when I say overspend, is like, for instance, look for like a cheap tailor. It doesn't have to be like a popular tailor to make their dresses. I don't think my bridesmaids paid more than 30k for their dresses, and it ended up so beautiful. It was a lady at Agungi that actually made the dresses, and it was so beautiful. In terms of hotel, obviously I think this one they give and let them share rooms so that they can split the cost, because these guys are actually paying a lot of money to be part of your big day, and at the end of the day most of them will end up spraying you money, which is a lot more money from their pocket. So you might want to also consider your bridesmaids. Try not to give people like bills and bills and bills, and then take some things of them, take some things of them and also buy them a gift, because they're literally bringing their time and effort for you. Because it was literally my bridesmaids that were helping me pack my money. Shout out to you, Tosin, Adugo, Etiosa, Dara, Regibi, and Ibukun. They were all helping me pick my money. So, and I trusted them to help me with those things, and it was really stressful for them, because right from the reception till the after party they were picking money. They were picking money. So buy them a gift just to say thank you. For my friends, I got them like this customized bags that had their names on it, and then I put like random gifts. I put perfume, candles, body butter. What else? I think I put their robe. Then I bought the flowers. I gave them a rechargeable fan. What else? I just put it like, I gave them earrings as well. All of them wore the same earrings, which was so cute. And whenever I see them wearing the earrings I bought them, I'm like, oh, this is so cute. Like, I appreciate them with like gifts. Do you get me? So because it's really, these things are really not easy for people. People are going out of their way just to help you do some, to just to be there for you. So you don't want to put so much pressure on them, right? And also I think the most important thing, another important thing rather, is to, these days I think people are combining their events. For instance, if you have the traditional and the white wedding, you might think of doing them on the same day, although it's going to be stressful. I didn't do that. I didn't have a traditional wedding. When I say I didn't have a traditional wedding, I wasn't present at my traditional wedding. I wasn't bothered to be present at that. So it was done in our absence. Literally the day they were doing our traditional wedding, I think my husband and I were somewhere in London chilling. Did you get me? So then my father now called and said, oh, they've paid your bride, not paid your bride, but they've fulfilled everything, this one and that one, and that was it. So if you can save money on a lot of things, like, just do that. Like, things are not cheap these days, so you might want to cut out on certain things, right? I think I've talked about videographers and photographers. Pick people that you can see that do the job well. They don't have to be famous or popular people. And the thing I've actually realized is that a lot of people plan their weddings through Instagram lenses. Like, you want to use the person that your friend's sister used, and you don't know how much she paid for that. These things are expensive, guys. Like, also, you can create a wedding registry for people to gift you. But I think, to be honest, I think the easiest thing is ask people to give you cash. It's so easy. Put it on the invitation card and say, oh, kindly monetize all gifts, and people will be happy to do that, because sometimes I even get tired thinking of what to buy for someone for their wedding, you know. So think about, think about telling people to gift you, the money for the wedding. That would go a long way, because you can then use it to buy whatever it is that you want to buy. But at the same time, if you feel like you know what you want already, then you can then make a registry and then tell people to purchase things off the registry for you. But I think, just in summary, these are some things that you should really pay attention to. A lot of things will go wrong on your wedding day, but the most important thing is to find someone who can shield you of those things. Someone once said that I can't remember the word she used, like, only warriors, yes, that was the word, only warriors plan their weddings themselves. Like, I can't stress it enough. Literally, only warriors plan their wedding themselves. You should, even if you can't afford, because obviously it's not free, even if you can't afford, you might want to like bring someone who knows some of these things. Maybe your friend, just get their ideas, or watch videos like this, get templates that you can use. Just like I said, if you want the template, let me know in the comments and I will share the template with you. Ask people for help. People actually do help, right? I mean, don't expect too much from people, because to be fair, it's not their wedding, it's yours. And a wedding is not really a need. You can actually just do a court wedding and move on with your life. So if you're expecting people to go over and above and spend their entire life savings on you, it's not going to work. And you too, don't spend your entire life savings on your wedding, because you have a life after that. Especially if you're a young couple who is still like trying to build their life. Don't spend all your money on wedding. Sometimes it's not worth it. Most times it's not worth it. So like, have something that you would still have even after the wedding, right? I hope these tips were very, very helpful. If it was helpful, let me know. Even if you're married and it was helpful, let me know. Yeah, let me know in the comment section, guys. But yeah, I hope you stayed to the end of this video, and if you did, you're an OG. Thank you so much for joining and clicking on this video. Don't forget to like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.